Once upon a time, in the wealthy Umori kingdom, there lived a young prince named Amadi. Prince Amadi was the only son of Eze Okechukwu, the king of Umori. He was tall, handsome, calm, and respected by everyone in the palace. He had smooth dark skin, sharp eyes, and the kind of quiet confidence that made people listen when he spoke. He did not talk too much, but whenever he opened his mouth, even the elders paid attention. Many people in the kingdom admired him. Young women dreamed of becoming his wife. Rich families prayed that their daughters would enter the palace as future queen. But Amadi was not carried away by all the attention. He had seen too much. That evening, he sat inside the large palace meeting room with his father, Eze Okechukwu, and his mother, Lolo Nwakaigo. Some palace elders were also seated with them. Eze Okechukwu was a strong and respected king. He had ruled Umoria for many years with wisdom. His people feared him, but they also trusted him. Lolo Nwakaigo, Amadi's mother, was elegant and proud. She loved her son deeply, but she also cared about the image of the royal family. To her, Amadi was not just her child. He was the future of the palace. One of the elders cleared his throat and leaned forward.
Your Majesty, Prince Amadi is no longer a boy. He is the only prince of this kingdom. It is time for him to marry. Umori needs a future queen.
Another elder nodded quickly.
The people are already talking. A prince must not remain unmarried for too long. Many good families are ready to bring their daughters.
Lolo Nwakaigo smiled a little and turned to her son.
They are right, Amadi. You know this matter has been delayed too long. Many respected families have shown interest. Daughters of chiefs, wealthy men, and titled people. You only need to choose.
Amadi looked at his mother, then at his father. He already knew this discussion would come again. It had been coming almost every week.
I know you all want the best for me. But marriage is not something I want to enter because people are talking.
Nobody is asking you to marry carelessly. We're only asking you to choose from good homes.
Good homes do not always produce good hearts, Mother.
The room became quiet. One of the elders shifted in his seat, but Amadi continued.
Many of the women you bring to me behave well because I am a prince. They smile when they see me. They kneel to greet you. They speak softly inside the palace. But outside, some of them insult servants. They shout at drivers. They look down on poor people like they are not human beings.
Adi, every woman will respect you. You are a prince.
That is exactly the problem.
Amadi replied. His mother stared at him. He leaned forward.
I do not want a woman who respects me because of my crown. I want a woman who respects people because she has a good heart.
The elders looked at one another. Eze Okechukwu had not said anything. He only watched his son closely. Amadi's voice remained calm.
If a woman can smile at me because I'm Prince Amadi, but insult a poor man because he has nothing, then she is not the kind of wife I want. One day I will sit on this throne. I cannot marry someone who will despise the same people I am supposed to protect.
For a moment, nobody spoke.
My son, you are thinking too deeply. No woman is perfect. Besides, when a woman enters the palace, she will learn.
Amadi looked at her with pain in his eyes.
Mother, character does not begin in the palace. It begins when nobody important is watching. That sentence touched Eze Okechukwu, though he did not show it.
The king finally spoke.
So what do you want, Amadi? Father, I wanted your permission to leave the palace.
Leave the palace?
Yes, Mother.
To where?
To a far village. A place where nobody knows my face. I want to live like an ordinary man. I want to work, eat, and sleep like the people outside this palace. And in that place, I want to find a woman with a true heart. Not a woman who sees a crown. A woman who sees me.
The elders reacted at once.
Impossible. A prince cannot do that. It is an insult to the royal bloodline. How can the only prince of Umori live like a poor village farmer? What will people say if they find out? That is why they must not find out.
You want to leave this palace and go and suffer? You want to eat ordinary food in a poor man's house? You want to sleep in a small room? You want to carry hoe and cutlass under the sun like a farmer?
Yes, mother.
God forbid. My only son will not go and live like a beggar.
I am not going to beg. I am going to work.
Work? You are a prince.
And one day I may become king. If I cannot understand how ordinary people live, how will I rule them with a clean heart?
That time even the elders had nothing to say immediately. Amadi faced his father fully.
Father, I am not doing this to shame the palace. I am doing it because I need to know the truth. If I stay here, every woman will love my title. Every family will pretend. Every smile will look real, but I will not know what is inside their hearts.
He paused.
But if I go out as a poor man, I will see people clearly. I will know who is kind. I will know who is proud. I will know who can treat a man with respect even when she thinks he has nothing.
And what if something happens to you?
Nothing will happen to him.
Everyone turned to the king. Lolo Nwakaigo looked surprised.
My king?
Eze Okechukwu did not answer her immediately. He kept his eyes on Amadi.
You are serious about this?
Yes, father.
You know it will not be easy?
I know.
You will not carry palace guards around you. You will not eat palace food. You will not sleep on a royal bed. People may insult you. Some may treat you badly. I am ready.
The king leaned back in his chair. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then he nodded slowly.
Maybe this is what you need.
Lolo Nwakaigo turned to him in disbelief.
You cannot allow this.
Our son is not a child. If he wants to know the hearts of the people, let him go and see them with his own eyes.
The elders were not happy, but none of them argued with the king. Amadi bowed his head.
Thank you, father.
Eze Okechukwu pointed at him.
But listen to me carefully. I will not allow this to continue forever. I will give you 1 year.
1 year.
Yes. 1 year to live this life you have chosen. 1 year to find the kind of woman you believe exists. If you return with a wife, I will listen to you. But if 1 year passes and you return alone, the palace will choose a bride for you.
That is fair.
Amadi was silent for a moment. He knew 1 year was not a long time, but he also knew that if true character could not show itself in 1 year, then maybe he was looking for something that did not exist.
I accept.
His mother looked away, still hurt and afraid. Eze Okechukwu stood up, and the meeting came to an end. That night, as Amadi walked back to his room, the palace felt different to him. The walls, the lights, the guards, the servants, the comfort, everything suddenly felt heavy. He knew the life waiting for him outside would not be easy. He knew people would mock him. He knew some women who would have fought to marry Prince Amadi would not even greet Amadi, the poor farmer. But that was the truth he wanted to see. Before the night ended, Amadi stood by his window and looked out at the quiet palace compound. Somewhere beyond the gates, beyond the rich homes and royal praise, was the woman he was searching for. A woman who would not love his crown. A woman who would see only a poor man and still treat him with kindness. And Amadi was ready to find her. The next morning, Amadi woke up before the palace bell rang. For the first time in his life, he looked around his room and knew he would soon leave everything behind. He opened his wardrobe and looked at the royal clothes hanging inside. They were fine and expensive, the kind of clothes people saw and immediately gave respect. He touched one of them gently, then moved his hand away. That was not the man he wanted the world to see, not yet. He removed his royal beads and placed them inside a wooden box. He removed his expensive wristwatch and kept it beside the beads. He removed his rings, his fine shoes, and everything that could show he was Prince Amadi of Umori Kingdom. By the time he finished, he wore a faded shirt, old trousers, and simple worn slippers. He looked at himself in the mirror and almost did not recognize the man staring back at him. He no longer looked like the prince everyone praised. He looked like an ordinary man, a poor man. Later that morning, Eze Okechukwu called him privately into his chamber. The king was not alone. Beside him stood a quiet palace guard named Obiora, one of the few men the king trusted with his life. There was also Papa Uche, an old palace driver who had served the royal family for many years. Papa Uche was from a far village called Umuagu. He was a simple man with grey hair, kind eyes, and a calm way of speaking. He knew when to talk and when to keep quiet, and that was why the king trusted him. Eze Okechukwu looked at Amadi from head to toe.
You look different.
That is the point, Father.
Only the four of us know the truth. You, me, Obiora, and Papa Uche. Your mother knows you're leaving, but she does not know the village. That is safer.
Amadi nodded. Papa Uche stepped forward slowly.
My prince, when we reach Umuagu, you will not be my prince. You will be my late sister's son. I will tell them you lost your small business and came to start again through farming.
That is fine.
Papa Uche studied his face for a moment.
Village life is not easy. People will not know who you are. Some will talk to you anyhow.
I know.
Some will laugh. I know. Some will insult you for no reason.
Amadi breathed in slowly.
That is what I came to see.
Eze Okechukwu walked closer to his son. For a moment he was not a king. He was only a father who was afraid but trying not to show it.
Remember who you are. Even when they treat you like nobody, remember who you are inside.
I will, Father.
I will, Father. Before leaving, Amadi went to see his mother. Lolo Nwakaego sat in her room, dressed in fine wrapper and blouse, but her face was heavy with worry. She looked at Amadi's poor clothes and shook her head.
My son, my heart is not accepting this thing.
Mother, I will be fine.
You say that because you have not suffered before.
Maybe that is why I need to go.
He held her hand gently.
I am not running away from the palace. I am trying to become a better man for it.
Lolo Nwakaego looked at him for a long time. She wanted to argue, but the decision had already been made.
Come back alive. That is all I ask.
I will come back.
That same day, before the sun became too hot, Papa Uche drove Amadi out of the palace through a quiet back gate. There was no royal convoy, no palace music, no guards surrounding him. Only one old car moving slowly away from the life Amadi had always known. As the palace disappeared behind them, Amadi felt something strange in his chest. Freedom and fear mixed together. They drove for hours. The smooth roads slowly changed to rough ones. Big houses became smaller. The noise of the city faded. Soon, they entered the dusty road leading into Umuagu village. Umuagu was still under Umori Kingdom, but it was far from the palace. The people had heard of Prince Amadi, but most of them had never seen him before. They knew his name, not his face. That made the village perfect for his plan. Papa Uche's compound was small but neat. His wife had died years ago, and his children were married and living in different towns. He lived alone in a mud house with a zinc roof, a small kitchen at the back, and a piece of farmland not too far from the house. When some villagers saw Papa Uche return with a young man, they came close to greet him.
Papa Uche, who is this?
Papa Uche placed a hand on Amadi's shoulder.
This is Amadi, my late sister's son. Things became hard for him where he was staying. He lost his small biz, so he came to stay with me and start life again.
The woman looked at Amadi with pity.
Sorry, my son. Life can be hard.
Thank you, Mama.
Another man standing nearby looked at his old clothes and laughed a little.
So this one wants to farm. Yes, farming is better than stealing.
The man shrugged and walked away. That was how Amadi entered Umuagu. No one bowed. No one called him prince. No one rushed to serve him food. From that day, he became known as Amadi, the poor farmer. His room in Papa Uche's house was small. There was only a thin mattress, one wooden chair, and a small table. At night, he could hear crickets outside and goats moving near the compound. The first night, Amadi lay awake for a long time. The room was hot. The mattress was hard. The silence was different from palace silence. In the palace, silence still had comfort inside it. Here, silence had loneliness. But he did not complain. The next morning, Papa Uche woke him before sunrise.
If you want to be a farmer, you must wake before the sun.
Amadi followed him to the farm.
The soil is soft after the rains. Yes, Papa Uche, it feels different underfoot.
The work was harder than he expected. He cleared weeds, carried bundles, planted cassava stems, and learned how to turn the soil for yam mounds. His palms became sore, his back ached. Sweat soaked his shirt before morning was even over. By evening he was tired in a way he had never felt before. Papa Uche looked at him and laughed quietly.
My prince, palace training is not farm training.
Amadi smiled weakly.
Do not call me that here. Amadi the farmer.
Days turned into weeks. Amadi learned to wake early, work under the sun, eat simple food, and sleep tired. He began selling small farm produce in the market. Sometimes he carried baskets of cassava. Sometimes he carried vegetables. Sometimes he helped older farmers move their goods just to earn a little money and make his disguise stronger. Life was not easy. Some people pitied him. Some people laughed at him. Some young women looked at his faded clothes and whispered among themselves. A few greeted him kindly, but most did not take him seriously. To them, he was just one poor farmer trying to survive. Once he helped a woman carry a basket that was too heavy for her. Instead of thanking him, she warned him not to steal anything from it.
Make sure your hand does not enter inside. I am watching you.
Another time he greeted a group of girls at the market. They looked at him, laughed, and walked away as if his poverty could stain them. Amadi felt the insult, but he kept quiet. He watched. That was why he came. He began to understand how easily people dismissed the poor. He saw how a man's clothes could decide whether people listened to him or ignored him. He saw how kindness became rare when people believed you had nothing to offer them. But he also saw good people. An old woman once gave him extra roasted yam because she said he looked tired. A young boy helped him gather cassava that had fallen from his basket. Papa Uche treated him like family, not because of his crown, but because of his heart. Still, months passed, and Amadi did not find the woman he was searching for. He met women who were beautiful but proud. He met women who smiled when they wanted something and turned cold when they thought he had nothing. He met women who spoke softly in public but insulted poor traders behind their backs. Each time he remembered his mother's words, "Every woman will respect you. You are a prince." And each time, Amadi's heart answered quietly, "But what if I am not?" One morning, in another part of Umuagu village, a young woman named Chika woke before everyone else in her stepmother's house. Chika was beautiful in a calm and innocent way. She was not loud. She did not dress to draw attention. But there was something soft about her face, something gentle in her eyes that made people look twice. Her beauty was the kind that carried sadness and patience together. She tied her wrapper tightly around her waist and stepped into the compound while the sky was still gray. Before the sun rose, she had already swept the compound, fetched water from the well, washed plates, and started preparing breakfast. Her stepmother, Mama Uloma, came out of her room with a frown already on her face. Mama Uloma was a hard woman with a sharp tongue. She was not Chika's real mother. Chika's mother had died when Chika was still young, and her father later married Mama Uloma. After Chika's father also died, everything changed. Mama Uloma looked around the compound and hissed,
Chika, is this how you swept this place?
We will sweep it again, Mama.
You better do. You eat in this house, yet ordinary sweeping is a problem for you.
Chika said nothing. Inside the house, Neka, Mama Uloma's daughter, was still sleeping. Neka was Chika's stepsister. She was pretty, but lazy and proud. She liked fine clothes, fine shoes, and attention, but she hated work. When she finally came out, Chika had already finished most of the morning chores. Neka yawned and sat down.
Chika, bring water for me. Chika, where is my food? Chika, wash my blue dress today. I may wear it tomorrow. I will wash it.
Mama Uloma stood by the doorway, watching as if everything was normal. To her, Chika was not a daughter. Chika was the person who must do the work. Chika did not fight back. She had nowhere else to go. Since her parents died, she had lived under Mama Uloma's control. Some days the pain entered her heart deeply, but she swallowed it and continued. She had learned that arguing did not change anything in that house. It only brought more insults. After breakfast, Mama Uloma handed Chika a small list.
You and Neka will go to the market today. Buy everything on this list. And do not waste my money.
Must I go? The sun is too much.
My daughter, just follow her. I do not trust Chika with money.
Chika lowered her head. She did not steal. She had never stolen from anyone. But Mama Uloma always found a way to make her feel small. A short while later, Chika got ready for the market. Her dress was simple and faded, but clean. She carried a basket and waited by the gate. Neka came out later, dressed like someone going for a ceremony. She looked at Chika and hissed.
Do not walk too close to me in the market. I do not want people thinking we are the same. I heard you.
They left the compound together. As they walked toward the market, Chika carried the basket while Neka walked ahead with empty hands. Chika did not complain. She only kept walking. They reached the market when the sun was already high. The market was busy that morning. Women called out to customers from wooden tables. Men pushed wheelbarrows between narrow paths. Children ran around with small trays on their heads. The smell of fresh vegetables, dried fish, palm oil, and roasted corn filled the air. Neka walked ahead as if she was too important to be touched by the crowd. She wore one of her best dresses and held her small handbag close to her side. Chika followed behind her, carrying the basket Mama Uloma had given them. They first stopped at the place where vegetables were sold. An old woman sat behind a small table with bunches of ugu, pepper, onions, and garden eggs. Her hands looked weak, but she still arranged her goods carefully. Chika greeted her warmly.
Good morning, Mama.
Good morning, my daughter.
Neka did not greet. She bent down, picked up one bunch of vegetables, and squeezed it with a look of disgust.
How much is this one?
20 naira, my dear.
Neka hissed loudly.
Are you selling vegetables or gold? Look at this small thing you are calling that kind of money.
The old woman looked embarrassed.
My daughter, things are costly in the market now. I am not cheating you.
Neka dropped the vegetables carelessly. Some onions rolled off the table and fell to the ground. The old woman bent slowly, trying to pick them up. Chika quickly placed the basket down and helped her.
I am sorry, Mama. Please do not mind her.
Neka turned sharply.
Chika, who are you apologizing for? Did I tell her to put old vegetables on the table?
Chika said nothing. She only continued picking the onions. A few steps away, Amadi stood with a small basket of cassava beside him. He had come to the market early to sell what he harvested from Papa Uche's farm. He was wearing a faded brown shirt, old trousers, and worn slippers. His hands were rough from farm work, and sweat had dried on his forehead. He saw everything. He saw how Neka spoke to the old woman. He saw how Chika helped without being asked. He saw the shame on the old woman's face and the kindness in Chika's eyes. Something in him became still. For months, he had watched people in Umwagu. He had seen beauty without kindness. He had seen sweet voices with proud hearts. But this girl was different. She was not trying to impress anyone. She did what was right because that was who she was. After Chika finished helping the old woman, she quietly returned to Neka's side. They bought vegetables, pepper, crayfish, rice, gari, and some other food items. By the time they were done, the basket was full, and there were 2 extra bags beside it. Neka looked at the load and frowned.
Chika, carry them. We are going.
Chika looked at the heavy basket, then at the bags. She knew it would be hard, but she still bent down to lift them. Before she could carry everything, Amadi stepped forward.
Good afternoon. My name is Amadi. I can help you carry them home.
Chika looked up at him. His voice was calm and respectful. Neka turned and looked at him from head to toe. Her eyes moved from his faded shirt to his worn slippers, then back to his face.
You? You want to help us?
Yes. The load is heavy.
Neka laughed again, louder this time.
Please, shift away. I cannot allow a dirty poor nobody who feeds from hand to mouth to walk beside me. People will think I know you.
Some women nearby turned to look. Chika felt ashamed, but not for herself. She felt ashamed because of how Neka had spoken to a man who only wanted to help. She turned to Amadi.
Please forgive her. Thank you for offering to help.
Neka rolled her eyes.
Chika, if you want to walk with poor men, that is your business. But do not bring shame near me.
Amadi looked at Chika,
It is all right.
but he still bent down and picked up the 2 bags. Chika quickly tried to stop him.
No, please. You do not have to.
I want to help.
His words were simple, but Chika heard the kindness in them. Neka hissed and started walking ahead.
Both of you should carry the whole market on your heads if you like. I am going!
Chika lifted the basket and followed, while Amadi walked beside her with the bags. For some time, nobody spoke. Neka walked in front, turning back from time to time to complain.
Chika, walk fast. Yes. Do not let that man touch anything inside the bags. I heard you. If anything is missing, I will tell Mama. Nothing will be missing.
Amadi listened in silence. The more he watched them, the more his heart grew heavy. Neka did not speak to Chika like a sister. She spoke to her like someone she owned. When they finally reached Mama Uloma's compound, Neka opened the gate and walked in first. She did not help with anything. She pointed toward a small store beside the house.
Chika, put everything inside. I am tired.
Then she entered the main house without looking back. Chika lowered the basket from her head and wiped sweat from her face. She tried to lift one of the bags, but Amadi stopped her.
Let me help.
You have already helped enough.
It is fine.
Together they carried the food items into the store. Chika arranged them neatly, while Amadi placed the heavy bags where she directed him. When they finished, Chika stood by the doorway, looking a little uncomfortable.
Thank you. I do not have money to give you now.
I did not help because of money.
Chika looked at him, surprised. Most people in her life always wanted something. Even kindness sometimes came with a hidden price. Amadi lowered his voice.
Why does your sister treat you like that?
Chika looked toward the main house, as if she was afraid someone would hear.
She is my stepsister.
Amadi waited.
My mother died when I was young. My father married Mama Uloma, Neka's mother. After my father died, things became different.
Her voice was calm, but Amadi could hear pain under it.
She talks to you badly.
I am used to it.
No one should get used to being treated like that.
Chika looked down.
I have nowhere else to go. This is the only home I have left.
For a moment, Amadi did not know what to say. Chika lifted her eyes again.
God is watching.
She said it softly, not with anger, but with the kind of tired hope that comes from someone who has cried too many times in secret. Amadi felt something pull inside his chest. Before he could speak again, Neka's voice came from inside the house.
Chika, are you still talking outside? Come and cook. I have to go.
Amadi nodded.
Thank you again.
You are welcome, Chika.
She paused when he said her name. She had not remembered telling him. Then she realized Neka had called it. She gave him one small smile before entering the house. Amadi stood there for a short while, then turned and left. That evening he returned to Papa Uche's compound quietly. Papa Uche was sitting outside, repairing an old stool. He looked up when Amadi entered.
You look like a man carrying thoughts.
Amadi sat beside him.
Papa Uche, do you know a girl called Chica?
Papa Uche stopped what he was doing.
Chica? Mama Olo's stepdaughter?
Yes. That girl is a good child.
Amadi listened closely.
She's one of the best girls in this village. Humble, hardworking, respectful. She greets elders, she helps people. Even when she is suffering, she does not carry bitterness around. And her family?
Papa Uche shook his head slowly.
Mama Oloma is not easy. Since Chica's father died, that woman has treated her like a house help. Her daughter Neka is even worse. Proud girl. She thinks beauty is character.
Papa Uche lowered his voice.
People say many men have shown interest in Chica before. But Mama Oloma always blocks them. If the man is doing well, she will say bad things about Chica and push Neka forward. If the man is poor, she will say they insult him and send him away.
Amadi's face became serious.
So Chica is trapped there. In a way, yes. But she is patient. Too patient, if you ask me.
Amadi leaned back against the wall. He remembered Chica bending to pick onions for the old woman. He remembered her apologizing for Neka's rudeness. For the first time since he came to Umuagu, Amadi felt that maybe his journey was not a waste. He did not know Chica well yet, but he wanted to. From that day, whenever he went to the market, his eyes searched for her without him even thinking about it. And whenever he saw her from a distance, carrying a basket or walking quietly behind Neka, he found himself watching more closely. Not because she was beautiful, but because even in a house where love was scarce, Chica still had kindness in her heart. Whenever she came to the market, he found a way to be near. He did not force himself on her. He did not talk too much. He only helped where he could. Sometimes Chica would come carrying a basket of food items. Sometimes she would come with firewood. Other times, she would bring small farm produce to sell for Mama Uloma. Each time Amadi saw her struggling, he would walk to her calmly.
Let me help you.
At first, Chica always refused.
No, Amadi. I do not have money to give you again today.
I did not ask for money.
Chica did not understand him at first. In her world, people hardly helped for nothing. Even in her own house, every little mistake was counted against her. So when Amadi helped her freely, she kept wondering what kind of man he was. But Amadi never asked for anything. He helped her carry food items from the market. He helped her lift firewood when the bundle was too heavy. If Mama Uloma sent her to sell cassava or vegetables, Amadi stayed nearby until she was done, then helped her carry the empty basket back. He never walked too close to her when they got near her compound. Chica had told him that if Mama Uloma saw them together too often, trouble would follow. So Amadi respected that. He would stop at a distance and allow Chica to continue alone.
Thank you.
Go safely.
Slowly, Chica became less shy around him. She began to smile when she saw him. Not the kind of smile she gave people just to be polite, but a real smile, small and warm. Amadi noticed it every time. Apart from the market, they also began to meet on the farm road. Chica's late father had left a small piece of farmland behind. Since Mama Uloma did not like hard work and Neka hated the sun, Chica was the one who went there most times. She weeded the farm, harvested cassava, picked vegetables, and carried whatever was needed home. Amadi's farm was not far from there. Many evenings, as Chica returned from her father's farm with dust on her feet and a basket on her head, she would meet Amadi coming from his own farm. At first, they only greeted.
Good evening, Amadi.
Good evening, Chica. You are coming back late today.
Yes, Mama gave me work.
Then he would help her with the load. After some time, the greetings became longer. They would walk together on the red earth road talking like old friends. Chica told him small things about her day. Amadi listened without interrupting. She told him how her father used to take her to the farm when she was small. She told him how her mother used to sing while cooking. She did not say much about their deaths, but Amadi heard the pain in the little she said. Amadi also told her about farming, but not about the palace. He told her he was still learning the land. He told her Papa Uche had been patient with him, even when he made mistakes. One evening, Chica laughed when he told her he once planted yam the wrong way, and Papa Uche looked at him like he had offended the ancestors. It was the first time Amadi heard her laugh freely. The sound stayed with him. From then on, their friendship became easy. Chika saw that Amadi was poor, but he was not lazy. He worked hard. He respected people. He did not beg. He did not insult anyone because life was hard for him. That mattered to her. She had seen men with money behave proudly. She had seen men with nothing become angry and bitter. But Amadi was different. He was calm in a way that made her feel safe. Amadi also saw Chika clearly. He saw a girl who had suffered but still greeted elders with respect. A girl who was tired but still helped others. A girl who had every reason to be hard but still remained soft. That touched him deeply. One afternoon, Chika came to her father's farm and saw Amadi working nearby. The sun was hot, and his shirt was wet with sweat. He had been clearing weeds for hours. Chika stood for a moment and watched him.
You have not rested since morning?
Farm work does not pity anybody.
I brought water.
For Mimi,
I brought it for myself, but you need it more.
He drank slowly, and for some reason, that simple act made Chika feel peaceful.
Another day, Mama Uloma sent Chika to harvest cassava alone. The work was too much for one person. Chika tried to do it by herself, but after some time her hands became weak. Amadi saw her from his side of the farm and came over.
why are you doing all this alone?
Mama said it must be done today.
Where is Neka?
Chika gave him a look that answered everything. Amadi said nothing more. He took his hoe and began to help her. Together, they harvested the cassava faster. Chika tried to stop him many times, but he refused.
If you continue like this, you will finish your strength before evening.
Chika looked at him quietly. Nobody in that house cared whether she was tired, but Amadi cared. For the first time in a long time, Chika felt seen, not as a servant, not as a burden, not as someone people remembered only when there was work to do. To Amadi, she was a person. That feeling entered her heart slowly, and for Amadi, Chika became more precious to him each day. He remembered the rich girls in the palace, the ones who smiled too much, the ones who lowered their voices when they saw him but shouted at servants behind the wall, the ones who wanted the palace, not him. Chika did not know he had anything. She did not know that the poor farmer walking beside her was a prince. She did not know that he could change her life with one word. Still, she treated him with respect. That was what made Amadi afraid and happy at the same time. He was beginning to care for her. Not because she was beautiful, though she was. Not because she was perfect, because nobody was. But because her heart was gentle, even after everything life had done to her. As weeks passed, people began to notice. At first, it was only small whispers.
Chika and that poor farmer are always greeting. I saw him carrying her basket yesterday. He even helped her on her father's farm.
The whispers soon reached Mama Uloma. One evening, Chika returned from the farm later than usual. Her clothes were dusty, and there was tiredness on her face, but there was also a small peace she could not hide. Mama Uloma noticed it immediately.
Why are you coming back by this time?
I was working on the farm, Mama.
Since morning?
Yes, Mama.
Mama Uloma looked at her closely.
And why are you smiling like someone who saw money on the road?
Chika's face changed.
I am not smiling.
Neka, who was sitting nearby filing her nails, looked up.
Mama, I have heard something.
Chika's heart tightened. Mama Uloma turned to her daughter.
What did you hear?
Neka smiled with one side of her mouth.
They said Chika has been walking around with that poor farmer, the one staying with Papa Uche.
Is it true?
Chika held the edge of her wrapper.
He only helps me sometimes.
Helps you? So now you are collecting help from poor men?
Chika did not answer. Mama Uloma stepped closer. Listen to me very well.
Listen to me very well. I did not keep you in this house for you to disgrace me with a useless farmer. If you think marriage is your escape, you better open your eyes and choose well.
Chika looked down. Neka laughed softly.
A poor girl and a poor farmer. It even matches.
Mama Uloma pointed at Chika.
Tomorrow you will go to the farm again, and Neka will follow you secretly.
Neka dropped her nail file and smiled.
With pleasure.
Chika looked up quickly.
Mama, there is no need for that.
Did I ask for your opinion?
Chika became silent. That night she lay awake for a long time. She knew trouble was coming. She knew Mama Uloma would never allow peace if she suspected that someone cared about her. But even with fear in her heart, she could not deny the truth. Amadi had become her friend. And for the first time in many years, Chika was afraid of losing something good. The next afternoon, she went to the farm as usual. She did not know that Neka had followed her from a distance, hiding behind trees and watching every step she took. And when Amadi came out from his own farm road and smiled at Chika, Neka saw everything. Her eyes narrowed. Then a wicked smile slowly entered her face. She did not leave immediately. She stayed behind the trees and watched Chika and Amadi from a distance. Her face carried a smile, but it was not a good one. She had followed Chika to catch her doing something wrong, and now she believed she had found enough. Chika did not know her stepsister was there. She finished gathering the cassava she had harvested and tied them together with a rope. Amadi came from his own farm, carrying his hoe on his shoulder.
You walked too much today.
There is no small walk in Mama Uloma's house.
Amadi helped her lift the cassava. They walked slowly along the narrow farm path, the evening sun falling gently across the trees. For some time, neither of them spoke. Amadi looked at Chika and felt his heart become heavy. For many months he had watched her. He had seen her kindness, her patience, and the way she carried pain without becoming wicked. He knew he could not keep hiding his feelings.
Chika,
Yes?
there is something I want to tell you.
Chika's heart began to beat faster. She could see seriousness in his face.
What is it?
I have fallen in love with you.
Chika froze. For a moment she only stared at him. She had heard the words clearly, but her mind struggled to accept them.
Amadi.
I know I do not have much. I know you think I am only a poor farmer. But what I feel for you is real. I want to marry you.
Marry me?
Yes.
She shook her head slowly, not because she did not care for him, but because fear entered her heart at once.
You are a good man, Amadi. You have been kind to me, but my stepmother will never agree.
Let me worry about that.
You do not know Mama Uloma. She can insult somebody until the person forgets why he came.
Amadi almost smiled, but he saw the fear in her eyes and became serious again.
I am not afraid of insults.
She will not make it easy.
I know.
She may even chase you away.
Let her try. But first, I need to know what is in your heart.
Chika looked down at the ground. No man had ever spoken to her like this, not with pride, not with pity, not like she was something to be managed or used. Amadi spoke to her like she mattered. Her voice became low.
I am afraid.
I understand.
But I know you are kind. You are hardworking. You respect people. You do not make me feel small.
Amadi watched her quietly.
If you still want me after knowing the kind of trouble that follows me, then I accept.
For the first time in many months, Amadi felt true joy rise in his heart. He smiled, and the happiness in his face made Chika shy.
Thank you.
Chika almost laughed.
Why are you thanking me?
Because you have made me happy.
She looked away, smiling. But the moment did not last. A loud laugh came from behind them. Chika turned sharply. Neka stepped out from behind the trees, clapping her hands slowly.
So this is what has been happening.
Chika's face changed. Neka laughed again and looked at Amadi with open disgust.
A servant has finally found a servant husband. Chika, you really know how to choose your level.
Chika's eyes filled with shame. Amadi did not speak. Neka moved closer and looked him up and down.
And you, poor farmer, you want to marry her? With what? Cassava and empty pockets?
Amadi remained calm. Neka turned back to Chika.
Mama will hear this today. Let me see how both of you will continue this foolish love.
Nick, please.
Please what? You think you can secretly plan marriage with this poor man and I will keep quiet?
She hissed and started walking away quickly. Chika stood still, her face full of fear. Amadi touched her arm gently.
Do not be afraid.
You do not understand. She is going home now. Mama will be waiting.
Then I will come with you.
No, Amadi. It will only make things worse.
I asked to marry you. I should be the one to speak.
Chika was scared, but she knew he had made up his mind. They walked back to the house together. By the time they reached Mama Uloma's compound, the whole place already felt hot with trouble. Mama Uloma was standing outside, waiting. Neka stood beside her with her arms folded, smiling like someone who had brought good news. The moment Chika entered the compound, Mama Uloma marched toward her and slapped her hard. Chika staggered and held her cheek.
You shameless girl! So this is what you have been doing on the farm? Following poor men around?
Chika lowered her head, tears gathering in her eyes. Amadi stepped forward calmly.
Mama, please do not beat her.
Mama Uloma turned to him as if she had just noticed him.
You followed her here?
Yes, Mama. I came to speak with you.
With me? What can you say that I need to hear?
My name is Amadi. I love Chika and I want to marry her.
For a moment, Mama Uloma stared at him. Then she burst into loud laughter. Neka joined her. Mama Uloma looked at his faded clothes, his worn slippers, and the dust on his feet.
You want to marry Chika?
Yes, Mama.
With what? Your empty hands? Your poor farm? Or the hunger written on your clothes?
Mama, ask him if he can even feed himself first before talking about marriage.
Mama Uloma pointed at Amadi.
You can barely take care of yourself. Look at you. A man who feeds from hand to mouth wants to marry somebody's daughter.
Amadi said nothing. Chika wiped her eyes quietly. Mama Uloma looked at Chika with anger.
And you, so this is the best you can bring home? A poor farmer? After all the warning I have given you?
Mama, I may not look like much, but I will take care of her. I will work hard.
Work hard. Poverty also works hard. Hunger also wakes up early.
Tell him, Mama. Maybe he thinks love can cook soup.
Mama Uloma walked toward the doorway.
Anyway, Chika is useless to me. If you want to carry her, carry her. But tradition must be followed.
Mama.
Keep quiet!
She went inside and returned with a sheet of paper and a pen. She began to write. She wrote slowly, adding one thing after another. Bags of rice, cartons of drinks, goats, expensive wrappers, jewelry, cash, palm wine, food items, more money for elders, more money for family women. She wrote until the list became heavy even to look at. Then she pushed the paper toward Amadi.
Bring everything here in 7 days. If you cannot bring them, do not ever come near this house again.
Chika moved closer and looked at it. Her heart dropped when she saw everything written there.
Amadi, no. Please do not suffer because of me.
Do not worry.
Mama Uloma hissed.
Look at him smiling. Maybe he thinks this is a market list for Gary. He will run away before tomorrow morning.
Amadi folded the paper and placed it inside his pocket.
I will return in 7 days.
I will be waiting.
Amadi looked at Chika one more time. There was fear in her eyes, but there was also something else. Hope, small and weak, but alive. He nodded to her and left the compound. That night, Amadi returned to Papa Uche's house in silence. Papa Uche was sitting outside with a lantern beside him. He looked at Amadi's face and knew something had happened.
My prince, what is it?
Amadi brought out the folded list and handed it to him. Papa Uche read it slowly. His eyes widened as he moved down the page.
Ah, this woman wants to sell the whole village.
Amadi sat down.
That is not what matters to me. What matters is that I asked Chika to marry me. And she accepted. Then this is good news. Her stepmother gave me 7 days to bring everything on that list.
Papa Uche looked at the paper again and shook his head.
She wrote this because she believes you cannot afford. I know.
The old man looked closely at him.
Papa Uche, it is time.
Papa Uche understood at once. He folded the list carefully.
We leave in the morning.
Before sunrise the next day, Papa Uche drove Amadi back to the palace. The journey felt different from the first time. When Amadi had left the palace, he had gone searching for truth. Now he was returning with the answer in his heart. By the time they reached the palace gate, the guards moved forward to stop the car. But when they saw Amadi sitting inside, rough, sunburned and dressed like a poor farmer, they froze. One guard quickly bowed.
My prince.
Another ran to open the gate. As Amadi stepped out, palace workers stopped what they were doing. Some stared in shock, some whispered. They had never seen him like that before. His clothes were faded, his hands were rough, his face had darkened under the sun. He looked nothing like the polished prince who had left months ago, but his eyes were steady. He walked straight to his father's private chamber. Eze Okechukwu was seated when Amadi entered. The king looked up, and for a moment surprise crossed his face.
My son.
Father,
You have changed.
I have learned.
Eze Okechukwu studied him carefully.
Did you find what you were looking for?
Yes, Father. I found the woman I want to marry.
Tell me about her.
Before Amadi could answer, Lolo Nwakaigo entered the room. She had heard that her son had returned and rushed in. The moment she saw him, she stopped.
Amadi, look at you.
I am fine, Mother.
You call this fine?
She looked at his rough hands, his faded clothes, and his tired face. Then her eyes shifted to the king.
This is what I feared.
Mother, I have found my wife.
Lolo Nwakaigo's face changed. There was a short silence.
Who is she?
Her name is Chika.
From which family?
She is from Umwago.
Umwago?
Yes.
Is she from a royal family?
No, Mother.
Is her father a chief?
No.
Is she rich?
No.
Then what makes her worthy to become queen?
Amadi did not rush to answer. He remembered Chika helping the old woman at the market. He remembered her carrying pain quietly. He remembered her bringing him water on the farm. He remembered how she treated him with respect when she thought he had nothing. Then he said,
Her heart.
The room became quiet. Eze Okechukwu looked at his son and smiled slowly. He understood. But Lolo Nwakaigo was not convinced.
Amadi, a good heart is important, but a queen needs more than that. She needs training, she needs family, she needs background.
She has character. And character is the first training.
The queen looked away, unhappy.
Nwakego, let the boy speak.
Amadi brought out the bride price list and gave it to his father.
Her stepmother gave me this. She thinks I'm a poor farmer and cannot afford it.
The king read the list. His eyes moved from the top to the bottom.
This woman is ambitious.
Lolo Nwakaigo collected the list and read it too. Even she was surprised.
She wrote all this for a man she thinks is poor.
Yes. And what do you want to do?
I want to return with everything on that list. I want to bring Chika home with honor.
You have my permission.
My king.
But the king did not change his mind.
Our son left this palace to find a woman who would love him without his crown. If he has found her, we must see her.
Amadi bowed deeply.
Thank you, Father.
Eze Okechukwu handed the list to one of the palace servants standing near the door.
Prepare everything written here. And double it.
Yes, Your Majesty.
Amadi stood still as the words settled in the room, not just prepared, doubled. Lolo Nwakego said nothing, but her face showed that her heart was still not at peace. Amadi understood her fear. Chika was not the kind of bride his mother had imagined for him. She was not Adeze, the proud daughter of a wealthy chief whom Lolo had quietly wanted for him. But Amadi had made his choice. He had seen beauty in the palace. He had seen wealth. He had seen polished manners. But in a poor village girl who had nothing to gain from him, he had found the one thing money could not buy: a good heart. 7 days later, Umwagu village woke up to a sound nobody expected. At first it was only a low noise from the far end of the road. Then it became louder. Engines, many engines. Children ran out first, shouting and pointing toward the dusty road. Before long, men and women came out of their houses. Black SUVs were entering the village one after another. Behind them were palace guards, musicians, and trucks loaded with bride price items. Bags of rice were stacked high. Cartons of drinks filled one truck. Goats were tied carefully at the back. Fine wrappers, baskets of food items, and other gifts were arranged like something prepared for a royal ceremony. The whole village became restless.
Who is coming?
Is it a burial?
No, this looks like marriage people.
Which family in this village can receive this kind of visitors?
The convoy drove slowly through the village until it stopped in front of Mama Uloma's house. Mama Uloma rushed outside when she heard the noise. Her eyes widened when she saw the cars and the loaded trucks. For a moment she forgot how to speak. Neka came out behind her, tying her wrapper properly as she walked.
Ma, who are they looking for?
Mama Uloma did not answer immediately. Her eyes were already shining with greed. Maybe a rich man had finally come for Neka. That was her first thought.
Neka, go and dress well. Do not stand there looking ordinary.
Neka did not wait. She ran back inside. Mama Uloma adjusted her blouse and smiled as people gathered around her compound. She stood taller, as if the convoy had come because of her importance. Then one of the black cars opened. A young man stepped out. The village became quiet. It was Amadi, but not the Amadi they knew. He was no longer wearing a faded shirt and worn slippers. He was dressed in fine royal clothing, clean and elegant. His face was fresh, his hair neatly cut, and there was a calm power around him that made people stare. He looked handsome, strong, and untouchable. Behind him, palace guards stepped down and bowed. Mama Uloma's smile slowly disappeared. Uneka came out of the house dressed in one of her best outfits. She stopped at the doorway when she saw him. Her mouth opened slightly. One man in the crowd moved closer and looked well. Then he shouted, "That is Prince Amadi!" "That is Prince Amadi." The words fell on the compound like thunder. Prince Amadi?
Prince Amadi?
The king's son?
The same farmer who had barely enough to eat?
Mama Uloma held the wall beside her as if her legs were about to fail her. Neka stood frozen. Chika came out last. She had heard the noise from the kitchen, but nobody had told her what was happening. Her hands were still wet from washing plates. When she stepped outside and saw Amadi standing beside the royal cars, she stopped walking. For a few seconds she could not move. This was the same man who had walked with her on the farm road, the same man who had helped her carry cassava, the same man who drank water from her calabash under the sun. But now, palace guards were bowing to him. Chika's heart tightened. Amadi saw her and walked toward her slowly.
Chika.
She stepped back. The movement was small, but Amadi saw it. His face changed. Chika looked at him with tears already gathering in her eyes.
You are a prince?
Amadi stopped in front of her.
Yes.
She swallowed hard.
And all this time, you allowed me to believe you were just a village farmer.
I am sorry.
Chika shook her head.
Was everything a test? Was I part of something you planned?
No. You were never a game to me.
But you lied.
I hid my identity. But what I felt for you was never a lie.
Chika looked away. hurt and confused. The villagers watched quietly. Mama Uloma and Neka also watched, but they did not dare interrupt.
I did not come to Umogo to mock anyone. I came because I wanted to know how people would treat me when there was no crown on my head. I wanted to know who would see me as a human being when they thought I had nothing.
Chica's tears rolled down.
You should have told me.
I know. And I am sorry. But if I had told you, you would have treated me like a prince. I needed to know your heart without fear, without title, without palace.
He paused.
You loved me as a poor village farmer. A man you believed had barely enough to offer. You respected me when you thought I was struggling. You gave me water when you thought I was tired.
Chica covered her mouth as she cried.
I hate that you lied.
I know.
But I know your heart was not wicked.
I promise you, Chica. From today, I will never hide anything from you again.
Chica looked at him for a long moment. She remembered the farm road. She remembered his kindness. She remembered how he helped her without asking for anything. She remembered how safe she felt with him before she knew he was a prince. The pain did not disappear at once, but her heart softened. Amadi stretched his hand slowly, not forcing her. Chica looked at his hand, then at his face. After a moment, she stepped closer. Amadi held her gently, and she began to cry against his chest. He wrapped his arms around her, careful and thankful, as the whole village watched in silence. Some women wiped their eyes. Papa Uche, who had come with the convoy, stood beside one of the cars and smiled quietly. Mama Uloma suddenly came forward with a bright smile that did not reach her eyes.
My daughter. Chica, my daughter, why are you crying on a happy day like this?
Chica slowly pulled away from Amadi and looked at her stepmother.
My daughter has always been a good girl. I raised her well. Prince Amadi, you have chosen well.
The villagers turned to look at her. Some of them shook their heads. Only a few days ago, this same woman had called Chica useless. Neka also stepped forward, smiling sweetly.
My prince, you really surprised us. If we had known who you were.
Amadi looked at her. Neka quickly adjusted her voice.
I mean, Chica is my sister. We are happy for her.
She moved a little closer to him.
But to be honest, palace life is not easy. Chica is very quiet. She does not know how to speak in royal places. Someone like me understands people better. I know how to behave among important families.
Chica lowered her eyes in embarrassment, but Amadi's face hardened.
Neka, when you thought I was a poor farmer, you could not stand near me.
Neka's smile weakened.
You called me a dirty poor nobody. You said you could not allow me to walk beside you. People in the crowd began to murmur.
Neka looked around, ashamed.
My prince, she was only joking. You know young girls and their mouths.
And you mocked me too. You said I could barely feed myself. You gave me this list because you believed I would fail.
Mama Uloma's face fell. Amadi looked at the loaded trucks.
But Chica did not mock me. She did not know I had anything, yet she treated me with respect. She saw a poor farmer, and she still spoke to me like a human being.
The village became quiet again. Amadi looked at Neka.
A woman who mocks a poor farmer can never respect a kingdom, because a kingdom is not made of only rich people. It is made of farmers, traders, widows, drivers, children, and people who wake every morning trying to survive.
Neka looked down. Amadi faced Mama Uloma.
And a woman who treats an orphan like a servant should not pretend before everyone that she was a loving mother.
The words entered Mama Uloma like a slap. She could not answer. The villagers murmured in agreement. Some of them had seen Chica's suffering for years, but nobody had been bold enough to say it openly. Amadi turned back to Chica. His voice became soft again.
Everything your stepmother asked for is here. I brought it with honor because you deserve honor.
Chica's eyes filled again. Palace men began to unload the items. Bags of rice, cartons of drinks, wrappers, goats, jewelry, cash, food items. Everything on the list had been brought, and everything had been doubled. Mama Uloma watched in shock and shame. The same poor farmer she had mocked had returned as a prince. The same Chica she called useless was now being honored in front of the whole village. And for the first time in many years, Chica stood in her father's compound without lowering her head like someone who had no value. She stood beside Amadi, not as a servant, not as a burden, but as the woman he had chosen. Chica stood beside Amadi as the whole village watched. The bride price items had been delivered. Mama Uloma could no longer speak with the same boldness she had used before. Neka stood quietly in one corner, her eyes moving from Amadi to the palace cars, as if she was still trying to accept what had happened. Amadi turned to Chica.
It is time to meet my parents.
Chica's heart jumped.
Today?
Yes, my father wants to see you.
Chica looked down at her simple dress. It was clean, but it was not the kind of dress a woman wore to meet a king and queen. Amadi understood her fear.
You do not need to be afraid. Come as you are.
Chica wanted to believe him, but her hands were shaking. She had never entered a palace before. She had only heard stories of the royal family from afar. Now she was being taken there as the woman Prince Amadi wanted to marry. Mama Uloma quickly came forward.
My daughter, go inside and change. Wear something better. You are going to the palace.
Chica looked at her. For years, Mama Uloma had never cared if she looked good or bad. Now, because people were watching, she was pretending. Amadi spoke before Chica could answer.
She is fine like this.
A few minutes later, Amadi helped Chica into one of the cars. As the convoy began to leave Umuagu, many villagers stood by the road watching with wide eyes. Some were happy for Chica. Some were ashamed because they had once laughed at Amadi. Some only stood there too shocked to speak. Inside the car, Chica sat quietly with her hands on her lap. Amadi looked at her.
You have not said anything since we left.
I am thinking.
About what?
Your mother.
My mother can be strong, but she is not wicked.
She wanted someone else for you.
Amadi's smile faded. Yes.
So she may not like me.
She may not understand at first, but she will see your heart.
What if my heart is not enough for the palace?
Your heart is the reason I brought you there.
Those words stayed with her until the convoy entered the palace gates. Chica stared. The palace compound was wide and beautiful. Guards stood at different corners. Servants moved quietly. The buildings were large, clean, and peaceful, in a way that made her feel small. When the car stopped, Amadi came down first and helped her out. Chica almost forgot how to walk. Inside the palace, Eze Okachukwu was waiting in the main sitting room. He was dressed simply for a king, but his presence filled the room. He had a calm face, but his eyes were sharp. Beside him sat Lolo Nwakaigo. The queen was elegant and composed. Her wrapper was rich, her jewelry was fine, and her face showed that she was used to being respected. Chica felt her knees become weak. Amadi led her forward.
Father, this is Chica.
Chica went down on her knees at once.
Good afternoon, Your Majesty. Good afternoon, my queen.
Eze Okachukwu looked at her carefully.
Stand up, my daughter.
Chica stood slowly.
So you are Chica.
Yes, Your Majesty.
You are the one who made my son return home with rough hands and sunburned face.
Chica became nervous.
I did not know he was your son, Your Majesty.
I know.
Chica relaxed a little. Lolo Nwakaigo watched her without smiling. Her eyes moved over Chica's simple clothes, her quiet face, and her careful posture. This was not the kind of woman she had imagined for her son. Chica did not look like a chief's daughter. She did not carry herself like someone raised among titled people. She looked innocent. Too innocent, the queen thought.
Chica, do you understand what it means to marry a prince?
No, my queen, not fully.
The queen lifted her brow slightly. Chica continued.
But I am willing to learn. I will not pretend that I know what I do not know.
The room became quiet. Amadi looked at her with pride. Eze Okechukwu nodded slowly.
That is a good answer.
Lolo Nwakaego said nothing.
My queen, I know I did not come from a rich family. I know I have not lived palace life, but I respect your son. I respected him when I thought he was poor, and I still respect him now that I know who he is.
The queen's face softened a little, but she still held herself back.
Respect is good, but palace life is not easy.
I understand.
You do not understand yet, but you may learn.
I will learn.
That simple answer touched something in Lolo Nwakaego, though she did not show it fully.
That is a good answer.
Lolo Nwakaego said nothing.
After the meeting, palace workers were asked to take Chika to a guest room so she could rest. On the way, one of the maids carrying a tray almost stumbled near the corridor. Chika quickly held the tray before it fell.
Careful.
The maid looked shocked.
Thank you, my lady. Please do not call me that. My name is Chika.
The maid smiled. Later, when another worker brought food to her room, Chika stood up to collect it with both hands. Thank you.
Thank you.
The young woman looked surprised. Many rich visitors entered the palace and behaved as if palace workers were invisible. Some did not greet. Some did not say thank you. Some gave orders like they were born above everyone else. But Chika greeted everyone. She spoke softly. She did not look down on anyone. By evening, the workers were already talking about her. One of the older palace women told Lolo Nwakaego quietly,
My queen, that girl is different. She greets everybody. Even the young maids. She helped one of them when her tray almost fell.
Lolo Nwakaego acted like she was not moved, but she listened. The next morning, another servant said,
My queen, she even thanked me for bringing water. I was surprised.
Lolo Nwakaego did not answer, but her heart began to shift. Maybe Amadi had seen something real. Maybe the girl was not polished, but she was not proud. And for Lolo Nwakaego, that was the first small door opening. But before peace could settle, trouble arrived. Adaeze heard the news. Adaeze was the daughter of Chief Obinna Ude, a wealthy and respected man who had been close to the palace for years. Adaeze was beautiful, educated, and raised in comfort. She was also the woman Lolo Nwakaego had quietly wanted Amadi to marry. Adaeze had always believed the palace was already close to becoming her home. So when she heard that Prince Amadi had brought a poor village girl to the palace, she could not control her anger. That afternoon, Adaeze arrived with her parents. Chief Obinna Ude came with a stiff face, trying to hide his annoyance. His wife, Lady Ngozi, looked offended before anyone even spoke. Adaeze walked between them, dressed beautifully, but her pride entered the room before her greeting did. Eze Okechukwu received them in the sitting room. Amadi was there with Chika. Lolo Nwakaego sat quietly, already uncomfortable. Adaeze looked at Chika from head to toe and smiled coldly.
So it is true. The palace now chooses farm girls as future queens.
Chika lowered her eyes, hurt but silent. Amadi's face changed.
Adaeze, be careful.
My prince,
I am only surprised.
a kingdom like Umori should have standards.
Amadi stood up slowly.
And what is your standard?
Family, class, training. A woman who can stand beside a prince without looking lost.
Chika's fingers tightened around each other. Amadi moved closer to her.
Royalty is not in expensive clothes. It is in character.
Adaeze's smile disappeared.
When I was poor in the eyes of the village, Chika treated me with respect. If you had seen me like that, would you have greeted me?
Adaeze looked away. That silence answered enough. Eze Okechukwu leaned forward.
A woman who looks down on the poor is not fit to sit beside a future king.
Chief Obinna Ude shifted in his seat.
Your Majesty, my daughter spoke out of surprise. Then let her surprise teach her humility.
Lady Ngozi held Adaeze's hand and stood.
We can see the decision has already been made.
Eze Okechukwu nodded.
It has.
Adaeze looked at Amadi one last time. Her eyes were full of anger and shame. Then she left with her parents. After they were gone, Chika remained quiet. Amadi turned to her.
Are you
I-
all right?
She nodded, but her eyes were wet. I do not want to bring trouble between you and your family.
I do not want to bring trouble between you and your family.
You did not bring trouble. You only revealed what was already there.
Lolo Nwakego watched them. She had seen Adese's pride clearly. She had also seen Chika's silence, not as weakness, but as self-control. That evening, the palace announced Amadi and Chika's traditional marriage. The news spread quickly across Umori Kingdom. Some people praised Chika and said God had remembered her. Some mocked her background and said the prince had made a strange choice. Some said she was lucky. Others whispered that she must have used charm, because how could a poor village girl win the heart of a prince? Chika heard some of the whispers, and fear entered her again. One evening, she sat with Amadi in the palace garden. The air was quiet, but her heart was not.
Amadi, I do not know this life.
He looked at her.
I know.
I do not know how to speak before elders. I do not know how to sit in royal meetings. I do not know what people expect from a queen.
You will learn.
What if I make mistakes?
Then you will learn from them.
Maybe your mother is right. Maybe someone like Adaize understands palace life better.
Amadi's voice was firm, but gentle.
I did not choose you because you were already perfect for the palace. I chose you because you have the heart the palace needs.
Chika looked at him.
The palace has many fine things, but fine things are not enough. A future queen must see people. She must care. She must remember the poor, not only the rich. You already have that.
Those words gave Chika courage, but she still knew she had much to learn.
The next
morning,
Lolo
Lolo
Nwakego
called
Chika
her.
entered the queen's
Chika entered
private
the
sitting
queen's
room
private
nervously.
sitting room nervously.
My queen, you sent for me.
Sit.
Chika sat carefully. The queen studied her for a moment.
If you are going to marry my son, you must learn palace ways.
Yes, my queen.
You must learn how to greet elders according to rank. You must learn when to speak and when to remain quiet. You must learn how to sit during royal meetings and how to receive visitors.
I am ready to learn.
You do not argue?
No, my queen. I need help. I will be foolish to reject it.
The queen almost smiled. From that day, Lolo Nwakego began teaching Chika. At first it was not easy. Chika made mistakes. Sometimes she greeted too quickly. Sometimes she forgot the right order of elders. Sometimes she became nervous and almost dropped things. But she never became proud. She listened. She apologized. She tried again. And slowly, Lolo Nwakego began to grow fond of her. Not because Chika suddenly became perfect, but because Chika was willing to learn without pretending to know everything. One afternoon, after Chika had practiced greeting the elders for almost an hour, Lolo Nwakego looked at her and said quietly,
You are doing better.
Chika smiled with relief.
Thank you, my queen.
The queen looked at her for a moment.
Call me mother when we are alone.
Chika froze.
Mother?
Lolo Nwakego looked away, as if the word had escaped before she planned it.
Yes. If you are going to be my son's wife, you should start getting used to it.
Chika's eyes filled with tears.
Yes, mother.
For the first time since entering the palace, Chika felt that maybe she would not only survive there. Maybe slowly, she would belong. From that day, Chika's fear began to reduce. She still made small mistakes in the palace, but she no longer felt alone. Amadi stood by her. Eze Okachukwu treated her with respect, and slowly, Lolo Nwakego began to treat her not like a stranger, but like a daughter she was still learning to love. The wedding preparations began. The palace became busy. Women came in and out with fabrics. Elders came for meetings. Drummers came to discuss the ceremony. Messages were sent to different villages under Umori Kingdom. Everyone wanted to see the poor village girl who had won the heart of Prince Amadi. But before the wedding day came, Mama Uloma arrived at the palace with Neka. They came dressed very well, as if they were important visitors. Mama Uloma held a small handkerchief in her hand, ready to wipe tears that had not yet fallen. Neka walked beside her, smiling softly like someone who had never insulted anybody in her life. Chika was sitting with Lolo Nwakaigo when they were brought in. The moment Mama Uloma saw palace workers around, she started crying.
My daughter, my own daughter. And look at how God has lifted you.
Chika stood up slowly. Neka also moved closer.
My sister, I have missed you.
Chika looked at both of them in silence. For many years she had waited for this kind of softness from them. She had wanted Mama Uloma to call her daughter and mean it. She had wanted Neka to call her sister without mockery in her voice. But now their kindness had come only because she was standing inside a palace. Mama Uloma turned to Lolo Nwakaigo.
My queen, Chika is my daughter. I raised her like my own child after her parents died. I suffered for her. I trained her. I am so happy today.
Chika lowered her eyes. The words entered her heart like something bitter. Neka held Chika's hand in front of everyone.
My sister has always been gentle. We grew up together. We are very close.
Chika gently removed her hand. The room became quiet. Lolo Nwakaigo watched carefully. Amadi, who had just entered, stood near the door and said nothing.
Chika, say something now. Tell them I raised you well.
Chika looked at her stepmother. For the first time, she was not afraid.
Mama, you and I know the truth.
Mama Uloma's face changed.
I will not insult you. I will not disgrace you. You are still older than me. But please do not stand here and change the story because we are inside the palace.
Neka looked away.
I forgive you for everything. I forgive the insults. I forgive the years I worked like a servant in my father's house. I forgive the way you made me feel like I had no value.
Mama Uloma swallowed.
But forgiveness does not mean you can rewrite the past. It does not mean you can now say you love me like your own child when you know you did not.
The room was silent. Amadi walked to Chika's side. He looked at Mama Uloma with respect, but his voice was firm.
Mama Uloma, you are an elder and I will not disrespect you. But Chika is no longer under your control. You cannot come here to use her again.
Mama Uloma looked embarrassed.
Say, my prince, I only came to rejoice with my daughter.
You may rejoice, but you will not lie about her pain.
My prince, we are family now.
Family should not begin only when there is wealth.
Neka's smile disappeared. Chika breathed out slowly. For the first time in her life, she felt free from them. She did not need to shout. She did not need to fight. She only needed to speak the truth. And the truth was enough. The wedding day came soon after. Umuri Kingdom had not seen such a celebration in a long time. The palace compound was filled with guests from different villages. Drummers played, women sang, elders sat in their places. The air carried joy, surprise, and plenty of whispers. Chika came out dressed beautifully, but her face remained humble. She did not walk like someone who wanted to show off. She walked like someone who remembered where God brought her from. Amadi stood waiting for her, dressed like the prince he was. He looked handsome and proud, but when he saw Chika, his face softened. The same villagers who once knew him as Amadi the poor farmer were there. Some could not even look him in the eyes. They remembered how they had laughed at his faded clothes. They remembered how they had called him poor and useless. Now he stood before them as the Prince of Umuri. The same people who had looked down on Chika now stared at her with respect. Mama Uloma and Neka sat among the guests, quiet and ashamed. People whispered around them.
Is that not the woman who treated Chika badly?
See how God works.
She rejected the prince when he looked poor.
Neka kept her head down. Mama Uloma could not lift her face for long. During the ceremony, Papa Uche was called forward. He was the old palace driver who had taken Amadi to Umuagu and protected his secret. He looked surprised when the king asked him to stand before everyone. Eze Okachukwu spoke clearly.
This man served this palace faithfully for many years. He protected my son when my son chose to live among the people. He did not betray the truth. He did not use the secret for his own gain. Today, we honor him.
The crowd clapped. Amadi stepped forward and embraced Papa Uche.
Thank you, Papa.
Papa Uche's eyes filled with tears.
My prince, I only did what was right. You did more than that. You gave me a home when I had to become nobody.
The king rewarded Papa Uche publicly with land, money, and a new house in Umwagu. The crowd clapped louder. After the traditional rites, Amadi stood before the people. The drummers became quiet. Everyone waited to hear him speak. He looked at the villagers, the elders, the palace chiefs, and the farmers who had come in their simple clothes. Then he said,
When I went to Umwagu, many people saw me as a poor farmer. Some pitied me, some mocked me, some treated me as if I had no value.
The crowd became still.
I went there to find a wife, but I found the truth about people. I saw how easily we respect wealth and insult poverty. I saw how some people bow before title but refuse to greet a man carrying hoe.
He paused and looked at the farmers.
But let me say this today. No honest work is shameful. A farmer is not a useless man. A farmer feeds the king, the chief, the trader, the teacher, the doctor, and the child in school. Before anybody wears fine clothes and sits in a big office, somebody must plant, weed, harvest, and bring food from the soil.
Some of the farmers nodded slowly.
If farmers stop working, the rich will still be hungry. If those who do humble work stop working, society will fall. So anyone who mocks a farmer mocks the hand that keeps people alive.
The crowd murmured in agreement.
I lived as a farmer, and I learned respect. I learned patience. I learned that the people we ignore are often carrying the heaviest burdens.
He turned and looked at Chika.
And I found a woman who treated me with kindness when she thought I had nothing. That is why she is standing beside me today.
Chika's eyes filled with tears, but she smiled. Amadi then announced support for the hard-working farmers in Umwagu. He gave out farming tools, seedlings, and money to help them grow their farms.
The palace will repair the farm road and create a place where farmers can sell their goods without being cheated.
The farmers rejoiced. Some old men raised their hands and blessed him. Some women danced. The wedding continued with joy. Chika and Amadi were joined before their families, elders, and the whole kingdom. Lolo Nwakaigo placed her hand on Chika's head and blessed her as her daughter. That simple act made Chika cry more than all the songs and dancing. After the wedding, Chika entered palace life as Amadi's wife and future queen. But she did not become proud. She still greeted the servants. She still thanked the women who brought her food. She still listened when old women from the village came to speak. She remembered girls like herself, girls who had no mother to defend them and no voice in the house where they lived. Whenever widows came to the palace, Chika listened with patience. Whenever farmers came with complaints, Amadi and Chika made sure they were heard. People began to love her, not because she wore fine clothes, but because she did not forget the life she came from. Amadi loved her even more. Many women had wanted Prince Amadi, but Chika had loved Amadi the poor farmer. She had seen a man with rough hands and faded clothes, and she still treated him with respect. That was something Amadi never forgot. As for Mama Uloma and Neka, they lived with regret. They often remembered the day Amadi came to their house in poor clothes and asked to marry Chika. If they had known he was a prince, they would have fought to please him. But because they thought he had nothing, they mocked him. Neka could not forget how she called him a dirty poor nobody. Mama Uloma could not forget the list she wrote to shame him. In the end, they learned too late that people should not be judged by clothes, poverty, or position. The person you mock today may be the person God has already lifted for tomorrow. And true love is not found in title, palace, or riches. It is found in kindness. It is found in patience. It is found in humility. And above all, it is found in a good heart.